Tatsumaki vs Saiki, the battle between the strongest espers in their respective series. Who will win in an intense battle? What is good everyone, Jammy here and welcome to a new matchup video. I have decided today that I will try to use an AI text-to-speech to make this video to see how well it will do. I initially planned to do another matchup video other than this one, but as a test for a new format for my longer videos, that is why I wanted to do something that I can easily cover first before I start doing more complicated analysis. So in this video, we will go over who wins in this matchup between Tatsumaki and Saiki. I'm sure you are all familiar with Tatsumaki since I've been vocal about her being one of my favorite girls in One Punch Man, but this will be Seiki's first ever introduction in a video as well. So I can also get to introduce you to his power that is often underlooked due to him being mostly a gag character in his own series. It will be somewhat of an interesting matchup to go over for a test run, so sit back, grab some snacks, and enjoy this video. Also, as a reminder to you all, if you do like this content and want to see more of this, then please do leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Share this video to your friends who might be interested as well. It would be much appreciated, and thank you all for the support recently. It's been great that my channel has been growing more than usual, and I want to keep it that way. So without further ado, let us deep dive into the topic of the matter. First, I will go over Tatsumaki's scaling and her abilities. In terms of AP, she should be easily around those multi-continental tiers at the bare minimum. This is because she fought against Saikuroki, who was able to fire beams that split the Earth's oceanic crust, which outputted enough energy that it clocks very high into multi-continental. Tatsumaki was able to not only be able to clash against Saikuroki, but also severely damage her while not in the best conditions. The moment she was able to fully focus on the fight, she nullified one of Saiko's beams and wrung her like a towel while twisting all of Z-City along with it and obliterating her on the cellular level. Her durability with psychic powers should be relative to her AP, as she is able to shrug off that oceanic crust-splitting attack with merely her passive barrier while taking little to no damage. However, you could potentially scale her higher by using Orochi's Gaia Cannon feat. As Orochi used this attack, it pulled out energy from the Earth's core for this powerful beam attack. This feat usually nets multi-continental plus to small planet level depending on the time frame being used for the kinetic energy calculation. However, the problem with this feat is that there is no canonical set time frame on how long it took for Orochi to pull this energy out of the Earth, and we also see that the effects of him doing so isn't instantaneous. However, it shouldn't be too long, as it would make no sense for Orochi to be sitting still charging the attack for 2 minutes or so. So for this video, I will scale Orochi at multi-continental plus level as the low end, moon level as the mid end, and small planet level as the reasonable high end. Saikuroki, who is Saiko's fused with Orochi and with blessing from God, should massively upscale from this, and Tatsumaki also upscales from this as she overpowered Saikuroki, which would put Tatsumaki around moon to small planetary level at a reasonable scale, but to what degree she scales higher into is unknown due to lack of multipliers in the verse. For speed, it is very straightforward. Saikuroki fires beam which have calculated speeds that get massively hypersonic plus to subrelativistic results, and Tatsumaki was able to dodge and evade said beams, effectively scaling her combat and reaction speed. You could also make the case that she had a brief exchange against Speedo Sound Sonic and had no problems dealing with him. And the same Sonic was relative to Flashy Flash, who at the bare minimum is FTL due to his own feats and statements, which is also a possible argument for her speed as well. As for her hacks and abilities, she has a pretty straightforward kit. A lot of her powers revolve around her psychic abilities, which provides telekinesis, barrier creation, and even telepathy of some kind. She has potentially a limited form of durability negation due to her telekinesis being able to exert enough pressure to cause internal bleeding on her opponents as well as affecting muscles. Even one time was able to target and manipulate the contents of a pill inside Fubuki's body, which likely means she could potentially target internal organs as well. She can also reflect or redirect attacks, can BFR people by sending them to outer space, or even resist 300 times gravity and feeling hardly anything. There are other things she can do, but that won't be very relevant for this video in particular, as I've covered most of her major stuff that is important. Tatsumaki has shown great endurance and stamina too during her fight versus Saikuroki, and she's also very combat smart. She is capable of multitasking and making quick decisions on the fly, as she was fighting Saikuroki, while also noticing the tsunami that was heading towards Z-City, and she intercepted it by raising the coastline to prevent destruction. She is also pretty adaptable in combat, as after stopping the tsunami, she utilized the raised rocks to fire at Psychos with precision. She even adapted her barrier's defense to counter Psycho's abilities. So in terms of her combat capabilities, she is definitely no joke. Now with all this concluded, how does she fare against Saiki himself? When it comes to Saiki, there is one thing to note, that his power difference is fairly big between him with limiters or without limiters. So I will go over his scaling from no limiters first, then tell you how much stronger he is without limiters for his scaling part. For his AP, Saiki's best feat was being able to stop a meteorite that was going to destroy the Earth, which with basic pixel calculations can even get to small planet-level results. He has pulled off other crazy stuff like dispersing clouds, moving away a typhoon, and even splitting the Earth itself, and what's crazy is a lot of these feats he hardly exerted much effort at all while suppressed by limiters. With limiters off, he is stated to get 100 times stronger than before and has multiple planetary statements. In terms of durability, he took attacks from an alternate version of himself despite that alternate version not having limiters. This would make his AP at bare minimum planet level and his durability being large planet level without limiters. There is, however, another interesting argument for his scaling, but I will cover that later in this video as you will see why. As for speed, Saiki was able to fly across the continent to America, which calculates very easily to FDL. He has some other crazy speed feats as well, but this is the main one that is important for his scaling. Since Saiki also gets faster with his limiters off, it is safe to assume that him being 100 times stronger makes him faster too, which would make Saiki easily MFTL in terms of his speed without limiters. Now in terms of hacks, Saiki has a lot of things he can do, and going over all of his abilities will take way too long for this video, so I will simply go over his most important stuff that I deem to be very strong. He has psychic powers, which is one of his major skill sets that allows him to use telekinesis, telepathy, precognition, and clairvoyance on a wide range. He can also manipulate time, whether it's via time travel, rewind, or stop time, and even retaining memories while looping time. He can also warp reality and manipulate laws and can control others' minds. He can also manipulate and cross over dimensions, can even affect people's minds and perception, even nullifying certain supernatural abilities. What's also insane is that he has conceptual and information manipulation via thought, and has even manipulated the plot inside his own series and breaking fourth walls as well, which makes a lot of sense for his nature as a gag character. He also seems to have a lot of resistance as well, such as mind manipulation, time manipulation, reality warping, conceptual and information manipulation, power nullification. He has too many things in his arsenal, but hopefully I showed enough to explain how busted he is. He also seems to have very insane stamina and likely has infinite stamina while not on his limiters, as he stated that if he removed his limiters, he could start to teleport and fight for eternity against his alternate version. He also has hacks that can operate on planetary to even interdimensional scales, so his ability range is unfathomably large. He's also just really smart as well, even at a very high genius level, as he knows 50 different languages, can play numerous games that require intelligence while going against Kasuki, and never lost once in a match, and even analyzed a full-scale MWI cosmology. The amount of information he can process is ludicrous and certainly makes him a menace. So with all that being said, let us head to the conclusion on who wins. Now, if it isn't obvious enough, Tatsumaki does not stand any chance against Saiki, and it's not a fair match at all. Even though Tatsumaki upscales from moon to small planet level scaling from Orochi while having potential FTL scaling, Saiki's lowballed scaling is still higher with or without limiters, while still having far more hacks in quantity and quality. Without limiters, Saiki is also much stronger, boasting bare minimum planet level AP with MFTL speeds. He would simply just speed blitz and one-shot Tatsumaki in this fight. Both can fly as well, so it's not like either side has an advantage in that regard. However, there is a scaling argument for Saiki that upscales him massively, which would make this fight an even more of a stomp. It is explained in the novels of the Saiki K series that Psi energy is the energy that Saiki possesses, equivalent to sight energy, which is from a higher dimension than superpowers, coming from the reader's mind. It can be used to bring characters, weapons from other worlds, able to make the boundaries of the universes hazy, able to connect two worlds, and then put all of those worlds together. He created a distortion equal to that made by sight energy. This indicates higher dimensional manipulation and potentially giving Saiki fifth dimensional hacks potency or tier. With this line of scaling, it is even more one-sided in Tatsumaki's favor, as her psychic abilities would be far too inferior to counter any of Saiki's attacks or techniques, while he can effortlessly defeat her in less than a second. So with all that being said, Saiki wins with hardly any difficulty to speak of.